You are not lazy. You are not unmotivated. Your brain is just being slowly destroyed by things you do every single day and nobody told you. Think about the last time you sat down to focus on something important and your mind just refused. You read the same sentence 3 times. You picked up your phone for no reason. You felt exhausted before noon. You told yourself it was stress, or maybe you just needed more coffee. But what if it was not stress? What if your brain has been quietly losing ground for months, maybe years, because of 7 completely ordinary habits that feel totally fine? By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly which daily habits are slowly destroying your brain, why each one works against you at the neurological level, and the one simple thing you can do about each of them starting today. No overhaul, no perfect routine, just 7 shifts that your brain will actually thank you for. And stay with me until the end, because the last habit on this list is one almost nobody talks about. It is the most invisible damage of all, and once you hear it, you will never think about your free time the same way again. Here is something that should genuinely alarm you. The World Health Organization now classifies dementia as a global health crisis. Cases are expected to triple by 2050. And while most people think of brain decline as something that happens suddenly in old age, the truth is completely different. Neurologists have found that the changes leading to serious cognitive decline begin quietly in midlife, sometimes as early as your 30s, driven not by bad luck or bad genes, but by daily habits repeated thousands of times over years. A 25-year study published in the journal Neurology tracked thousands of adults and found that lifestyle habits were the single biggest predictor of cognitive decline, more powerful than genetics, more powerful than education, more powerful than income. Your daily routine is literally shaping the brain you will have at 60, 70, and 80. That means the way you sleep tonight matters. What you eat tomorrow morning matters. How you spend the next 10 minutes after this video ends matters. So here are the 7 daily habits that slowly destroy your brain and exactly what to do instead. Habit 1. You are robbing your brain. Most people think sleep is passive. Your body shuts down, you rest, you wake up. But inside your brain, sleep is the most active maintenance window of your entire day. While you sleep, your brain activates a system called the glymphatic system, a network of channels that flushes out toxic waste products that build up during waking hours. The most dangerous of these waste products is a protein called beta-amyloid. You may have heard of it. It is the same protein that accumulates in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. Researchers at the National Institutes of Health discovered that even a single night of poor sleep causes a significant spike in beta-amyloid buildup. One night. Now multiply that by weeks, months, or years of consistently cutting sleep short, and you begin to understand what chronic sleep deprivation is actually doing beneath the surface. The action you can take today: set a non-negotiable cutoff for screens 45 minutes before bed. Not just because blue light disrupts melatonin, though it does, but because the mental stimulation of scrolling, watching, and reacting keeps your nervous system in an alert state that delays the deep sleep stages where the real cleaning happens. 8 hours in bed means nothing if you never reach deep sleep. Wind down deliberately. Habit 2. You are feeding your brain fire. Your brain is the most metabolically active organ in your body. It consumes roughly 20% of your total energy while making up only 2% of your body weight. And it is extraordinarily sensitive to what you put in your body. Ultra-processed foods, packaged snacks, fast food, refined sugars, and seed oil-heavy products trigger a process called neuroinflammation. Chronic, low-grade inflammation in the brain is now being studied as a root driver of depression, anxiety, memory problems, and long-term cognitive decline. A major study out of University College London tracked over 10,000 adults across multiple years and found that every 10% increase in ultra-processed food consumption was linked to a measurable acceleration of cognitive decline. Not a small effect, a measurable one. The action you can take today? Set a non-negotiable cutoff for screens 45 minutes before bed. Not just because blue light disrupts melatonin, though it does, but because the mental stimulation of scrolling, watching, and reacting keeps your nervous system in an alert state that delays the deep sleep stages where the real cleaning happens. 8 hours in bed means nothing if you never reach deep sleep. Wind down deliberately. Now, the next habit is one most people are shocked to learn is damaging because it looks like relaxation. Here is a fact that puts the modern world in perspective. The human brain evolved over 200,000 years in an environment of physical effort, deep social bonds, and long stretches of quiet. It has existed in the world of smartphones for less than 20 years, and it was not designed for what we are asking it to do. Habit 3. Passive scrolling is rewiring your reward system. Scrolling through social media, short-form video, and news feeds feels like downtime, but your brain does not register it as rest. It registers it as a continuous, low-effort stream of novelty. Each new image, video, or post triggers a small dopamine release. The problem is that these hits are too easy, too fast, and too constant. Over time, your brain adjusts. The dopamine threshold rises. Activities that used to feel satisfying, reading, having a real conversation, working on a creative project, start to feel flat and dull by comparison. Neuroscientists call this process dopamine dysregulation, and it is not a willpower failure. It is a structural change in how your brain processes reward. The action you can take today? Choose one 20-minute block and do absolutely nothing. No phone, no podcast, no background music. Sit with your own thoughts. It will feel genuinely uncomfortable. That discomfort is the sound of your brain recalibrating. Stay with it. Habit 4. Sitting all day is shrinking your hippocampus. Physical movement is not just good for your heart. It is one of the most powerful known triggers of neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells. When you exercise, your body releases a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which researchers have nicknamed miracle grow for the brain. BDNF promotes the growth and survival of neurons, particularly in the hippocampus, the region of your brain responsible for memory formation and learning. When you sit for most of the day, BDNF levels drop. Studies using MRI scans have shown that sedentary adults have measurably smaller hippocampal volume than active adults. Smaller hippocampus means weaker memory, less learning capacity, and faster age-related decline. The good news? A 20-minute brisk walk is enough to produce a meaningful BDNF response. You do not need a gym. You do not need a program. You just need to walk after your next meal. Today, not tomorrow. Now, number 5 is where it gets deeply personal and deeply underestimated. Researchers at Harvard ran the longest study of human happiness and health ever conducted, over 80 years, tracking hundreds of people from youth into old age. They expected wealth to matter most, or achievement, or physical health. What they found instead stunned them. Habit 5. Chronic loneliness is dissolving your brain tissue. The human brain is a social organ. It did not evolve to process the world alone. An enormous portion of your brain's processing power is dedicated entirely to social cognition, reading faces, interpreting tone, managing relationships, and anticipating how others think and feel. When that input disappears, the brain does not relax. It goes into threat mode. Chronic loneliness triggers sustained activation of the stress response system. Cortisol levels stay elevated, and elevated cortisol over time causes physical damage to the prefrontal cortex, the region of your brain responsible for decision-making, emotional regulation, planning, and complex thinking. The Harvard study found that the quality of close relationships was the single most powerful predictor of both mental and physical health in later life. Not wealth, not fitness, relationships. The action you can take today: call one person, not text, call. Real-time voice conversation activates social brain networks in ways that texting simply does not. One call, that is it. Pause for reflection. Habit 6. You are stressed all day and never actually recovering. Stress itself is not the enemy. Short bursts of stress sharpen focus and improve performance. That is what cortisol is designed to do. The damage comes from chronic, unrelieved stress where cortisol never comes back down. In sustained stress states, cortisol floods the brain continuously. It suppresses neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire, adapt, and grow. It damages memory consolidation. It literally causes neurons in the hippocampus to atrophy. Here is the part people miss. You can be chronically stressed and barely notice it. If you feel a low hum of tension most of the day, if you cannot truly relax even when nothing is urgent, if you wake up already tired, that is not your personality. That is a nervous system stuck in overdrive. The one thing you can do today is 5 minutes of slow, diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. The extended exhale directly activates the vagus nerve and triggers the parasympathetic response that drops cortisol. 5 minutes. It is embarrassingly simple. It works. Now, everything I have shared so far matters. But this last one, this is the habit that almost no one connects to brain health. This is the one I want you to really hear. This is the habit that is hiding in plain sight, disguised as productivity, disguised as efficiency, disguised as making good use of your time, and it might be doing more long-term damage to your cognitive health than any of the others. Habit 7. You have eliminated every moment of boredom from your life. The second you have a spare moment, waiting in line, riding in an elevator, sitting in traffic, lying in bed, you reach for your phone. And it feels smart. It feels like optimization. Why waste time doing nothing? Here is why. When your brain is not actively focused on an external task, it activates a network of regions called the default mode network. The system does not switch on when you're busy. It only switches on when you stop. And what it does in those moments of apparent idleness is some of the most important cognitive work your brain ever performs. It processes unresolved emotions. It consolidates long-term memories. It connects ideas from different parts of your experience to generate creative insight. It rehearses future scenarios. It builds your sense of self. Every great idea you have ever had in the shower, on a long drive, or staring out a window, that was your default mode network doing exactly what it evolved to do. When you fill every spare moment with content, you switch this system off completely. You stop processing your own life. Over time, creativity drops, problem-solving weakens, emotional processing backs up, and you wonder why you feel mentally full but somehow still empty. The daily habits that slowly destroy your brain are not the dramatic ones. They're the quiet ones. The ones that feel fine, even good, even responsible. Staying informed, staying busy, staying connected, staying entertained. The real protection is making space for sleep, for movement, for real connection, for stillness, for the extraordinary, ordinary work your brain needs to do. Start with 10 minutes tomorrow morning. No phone, no podcast, no input of any kind. Sit with your own thoughts. Let your brain do what it was built to do.